Good morning. It is Monday. Carry the 4, divide by... What's happening?
Huh?
I said it's Monday. I'm drawing a... I could just look down at my watch, but I haven't. Monday, March 14th. There it is. So important. It's the other Pi Day, Robert. It's the mathematical Pi Day.
It is.
Because every time when somebody joins the ecosystem, when we talk about Pi Day being the day before chicken giving, people are like, well, no, it's March 14th because of 3.1. Okay.
3.14159.
So to all of you that didn't date during college and celebrated Mathematical Pi Day, congratulations. That's today. And we're moving on, .org. It is also 90 days out from Sunday, June 12th. So in the midst of it, it is well into the month of June. If you are having a conversation today, you're going to be at a closing table around June 12th, but that's a Sunday, so it's really going to be like Monday, June 13th, maybe the Friday prior. I'm not really sure. Loads of stuff going on today. Of course, Robert and I are here to get you through at least this morning and talk about what's going on today. Ignite 2.0 continues. That's at 9 o'clock. You can go to KWikStart.com and get yourself registered for the balance of the month. Some great classes coming up. 11 o'clock today, Proven Cappers Mastermind. If you are a capper and you're a consistent capper, you're a repeat offender, we're having our mastermind today at 11. The links are all in the news. And, of course, Ask the Broker with JV at 1 o'clock. And then 2 o'clock, Robert is available at KWTechTV.com for your lab hours. Basically, you got a question about command or any of the technicals, you can jump into the green room. You're not doing questions today?
Nah, no questions. I'll be there.
Susanna, I want to talk about what you guys did on Friday. Phenomenal. Of course, we're getting back into in-person teaching, which is great. So we're loading up the classrooms. No more 6 feet. Masks if you prefer. And if you don't want a mask, that's cool too. We completely appreciate that. But if somebody wants to wear a mask, we don't have a problem with that. So we had people in the Portsmouth training room for a 9 o'clock and a 12 o'clock session on Friday. It was also broadcast out to the masses because we're going to keep this going. We're not like, we're back now and we're going to stop broadcasting. Obviously, can you imagine we had a live studio audience for this fiasco? Can you imagine? How would that go?
Well, if it went anything like Friday.
We need a weather guy down on the street with the crowd going, like, so he can do the update and then throw it back to the local affiliate.
Can you identify 3 countries in Africa?
Do you? Well, I almost went there, but I'm not going to. Because we're not going to go down the Wordle wormhole, but my wife is now playing Wordle too.
There's another one?
Well, so there's Wordle.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then there's Worldle, where you have to figure out what the country is. They just give you the shape of the country.
Yeah.
And 9,000% of the time it's in South America. So her and Aiden are always competing on who can figure that out. We'll get the other sad...
I got to tell you something about Wordle. Wordle was put out by this one... There was put out by this one guy. He ended up selling it for like 7 figures to the New York Times. Like ridiculous.
Yeah. He did it right for himself.
Before it was New York Times, there was just a very simple, browser-based game, which had the exploit to cheat right inside the game. It was incredibly easy to cheat. And once I found it, I was like, okay. So I was playing this little game with my wife where I convinced her that I was able to guess the Wordle word
every time
without putting a letter in there.
Yeah.
And I had 7 days worth of Wordle answers already in my back pocket. And every day she'd be like, okay, try and guess it now. And I would do it. I would just guess the word.
You're like aristocrat. She's like, how did you get that? Yeah. It's only ever 5 words, though. 5 letters, right? It's only ever 5 letters?
Yeah, 5 letters. But there was like 700, 800 words in the game at the time.
Yeah.
But when the New York Times bought it, they immediately offloaded the word list and put it into an external file as opposed to embedding it in the actual game.
Yep.
So I lost the ability to cheat.
And there it is, everybody. Deep thoughts from Robert Vincent. Well, so here's the other thing. They talked about the fact that nationwide, New Hampshire is the #1 state for going on Google and cheating.
Cheating what?
Because people like to post right away when they get it. And then people are either going on Google and getting it or whatever. But yeah, so we have a state full of cheaters here in New Hampshire when it comes to Wordle. So The other soup of the day that we're going to skate right past, but I've got to get my Nostradamus prediction in. Brady came out of the shadows last night. He's coming back. Everybody's.
I know.
It's very polarizing, right? You're either on board or you're not. And I love Thomas. Thank you for everything you've done. I'm done with it. I'm so all set with it. And I think he's back to get traded to the Niners for Garoppolo. He's going to finish his year. He's going to finish his life in San Francisco. 1,000%. He's not taking a snap. He might take some preseason snaps. He might take some training snaps as a Buck. He's getting moved to the Niners for Garoppolo.
But Jimmy's great.
No, they pretty much Garoppolo when he left last year was piecing out. He said he slobbered all over himself and said thank you to the press. It's been a great run. He knows he's getting shipped out because they think Trey Lance is next, but is he next? So my early prediction for Brady, he comes back to the Bucs. They are going to move him to the Niners or somebody, but Niners is top of my board. He does not play for the Bucs. Even though the Bucs are reloading, I still think he doesn't love Bruce Arians, who's not a great coach. He just looks like a great coach because he's wearing a headset, but halfway through the game, it's always turned up. Like, how do you coach like this? Yeah, because they're not listening to the coach. They're listening to Brady. But anyway. All that aside, so much going on this week. We've got our graduation day for Bold on Thursday, and we have a special guest for Bold on Thursday. I'm going to leave it right there. You have to, obviously, anybody in class is coming to class because it's graduation. A really big surprise, and I will tease it a little bit for the people that know what I'm talking about, and now she's probably going to get all these texts. Delaney Dean is going to be very excited about the special guest on Thursday.
Is it Delaney Dean?
No, but I guarantee when she finds out, she's like, Timmy, I'm coming over to sit in your office and watch it with you. Yeah. So yes, it's gonna be great. Somebody I adore is gonna be the special guest for graduation day this Thursday for Bold. So that's coming up, and then of course other stuff on the calendar today. Lest we forget, you've got Brad Knowles, Win with Sellers. That's going on at 10 o'clock. And then you've got 7 Keys to Wealth Building at 1 o'clock. And then the Growth Call, of course, on Mondays, as always. And if you are not plugged in or invited to the Growth Call, just click the link. There's a link in the news for 2 o'clock. That's a regional conversation taking place with Jen Bovey and Brooke Silva, and they bring somebody on. They interview somebody from the region to talk about how they got to where they are, sort of like Coffee with a Capper. And then they spend the final 15 minutes giving you guys great content for your social media and conversations to have for the week to get more listings. Yeah, it's hyper important. And we joke all the time. Like, here's the thing. We talked about this last week, I think, Robert. We typically carry more listings at our little party here called KWCLM than our active right now in the entire state of New Hampshire, just using New Hampshire as a baseline. So it's incumbent upon us to get the needle moving and to break the logjam, as Nathan would say. So much so that I've always joked there's a company in town that I call them Repost instead of their actual name because they typically grab our stuff and repost it, and that's a compliment to us. Don't forget. So we still are probably out hustling most. And we need to put our foot down on the gas and keep going. So please, having your conversations today, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about in the Proven Cappers and throughout the month, we call it a post-mortem, which is very macabre. But it's like after the close, what can you look back on how you got to the closing table? What went well? What didn't go well? Right? Because this is an ever-changing conversation. What you were doing last spring, last summer is going to be different from this spring, this summer because of everything going on in the world right now. But anyway,
so speaking of the market, and I'm not speaking from a real estate perspective, but we did a class last week about absorption, and I'm getting a lot of requests to find out when that class is going to be up on the LMS, and I'm actually recompressing the file now. It's been edited, it's ready to go. I think I have to split it into like 2 or 3 parts because it's a pretty good class, pretty good size. So that should be up in the LMS today, as well as you may have noticed in your emails today, you've received 2 or 3 notifications about additional classes that were loaded into the LMS. So there's we had a lot of activity last week, the past couple of weeks, really. And so the past couple of weeks, the material is starting to make its way into the LMS. Just so that you guys know, it does take me a little bit of time to edit things and clean them up and prepare them.
Sure.
But once that's done, they start getting uploaded pretty quick. So if you're interested in finding out more about the absorption, just keep an eye on your email, because as soon as that class is loaded in there, you'll get a notification that it's ready to go.
So if I'm correct, you're
How do
speaking.
you get the notification?
How do you get the notifications? Make sure that you go to KWCLMtraining.com and create your account. It is that simple. A massive sandbox of content. And Robert will correct me when I'm wrong. I won't even say if I'm wrong, when I'm wrong. TimIsWrong.com, by the way, I bought for my wife 2 years ago for her birthday. There's still nothing there, but she owns the domain. Anyway, when I'm wrong, stop me, Robert. So for a class like Friday, where you jumped up and taught, Babs taught, Zoe taught, if I were to go and say, hey, I saw Robert and I saw Babs, missed Zoe, am I going to be able to go grab the Zoe portion separately? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, exactly, right? So if you're on YouTube and you're watching a really long video, some really smart creators are like, hey, if you want to just see me review this microphone, this bicycle, this whatever, skip ahead. And they've got all the chapters within the big, long format. They've got all the chapters broken out, so you can go to exactly what you want. And Robert's doing that in the LMS.
Yeah.
So friendly reminder.
It's actually easier in the LMS because there's individual sections. Instead of having to go to a chapter in a video, like horizontally, when you go to the front page of each of the lessons, it tells you what each video or each section is, and you can jump right in. And that makes a big difference on the orientation video that we do, which is like 8 hours.
1,000%.
Each section is broken down for each speaker, and each document in the essential forms is broken down. Everything's broken down. We try to make it so that you could get in there, get what you need, and get the heck out.
Yes, grab and go content. So if you're thinking, wow, what is this KWCLMtraining.com thing they speak of? If you're unfamiliar with it, when did you birth this?
I think it came online in October?
Yeah. So content's getting added every day. I
went online in October.
and once you have your account built, anytime new content is added, it's almost like subscribing to somebody's YouTube channel. You'll get a notification. There'll be an email that says there's a new. Now, when you see the email from Robert that says there's a new class for you to check out, it doesn't mean you have to do it. It's not digital homework. We're just letting you know there's new content there. That's the jam, right? And well, you should do it, yes, because we've gamified it, right? So Robert has gamified it that when you have more minutes on task, when you've done more things, and we can also see if you went in and started something and you only did 7 seconds of it, so you're not done. And you can do this whenever you want. That's the beauty of this, right? Yeah. So KWTechTube.com is available 24 hours a day, 365. KWCLMtraining.com is available in the same way, where KWTechTube is like, well, I'm gonna put it on because I want to hear the class, as opposed to I want to break it down and I want to do some learning modules in between. That's really the purpose of the training module that is the LMS, the Learning Management System, all the acronyms. You're welcome. Hi, Gary. Good morning. So it's a massive tool, and I guarantee your friends across the street don't have a tool like this. So if they're educationally challenged, remind them that they're welcome to come over here and play with us, because we're looking for more people that want more of their business happening faster, and that's what this is all about.
So just to kind of close out this so that we can talk about some other things, we also added this week, it was added yesterday, the new deposit link training is up, the newer version. Sweet. Deposit link is that escrow earnest system, the escrow software. That has been updated to the March 2022 class. That is now online, and there are 150 of you who should have received an email on that. And that is that thing is all ready to go, and it's got a brand new logo, brand new look. So if you saw it before, what I did was to make sure that you guys saw this, I put it in as a different class and took out the old one so that it showed up as a new one.
Yep.
And keep in mind that is required that you watch that video. It's only like, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes. When you watch that video, then you become eligible to talk with Kaylee and Tristan about using that service. But they will know if you've watched it, because the system tracks it to make sure, so they can actually verify that you've taken a look at that video and watched all the way through. So that one is there, which if you're interested in the deposit link, which will save you tons of time and effort, check that out. And that one is courtesy of Kaylee and Tristan. They got the material. I just put it in there and got it ready for you guys, but it is ready to go.
Yeah, and never more important. And Robert, you alluded to this last week in one of our conversations, just talking about the fact that if you are hammering the phones in the morning or whatever you're doing for lead generation, making sure that you're having your conversations with your people to create the kitchen table and conference table conversations to sign people into your business. When you get to the afternoon and you're flamed and you're like, I don't know if I can have one more conversation. Okay, this is a great time of year if you are starting to build your business back up or you're just getting started to lean into the education, right? And this is why we're not going to try to suddenly shut down the digital aspect of our educational department. Like, you're always going to be able to do it online. So I won't say 4,000%. For example, I haven't talked to Mark about this, but I know Mark is having his mastermind with Rachel and Kara next Tuesday in the Meredith office. Pretty sure they're going to use the Lookin' Chicken. We used to call it the owl. It's the Lookin' Chicken. We're just going to call it the Lookin' Chicken. I'm pretty sure they're going to use the Lookin' Chicken and broadcast it. At the same time, it might just be a closed format, because here's the thing. When we're lucky enough to have great veteran agents give us their time or teach a class, and they're like, I don't know about the cameras and the microphones and all that stuff. It's just going to be a small thing at the Wolfboro office, and I think 12 people fit in that room. They're allowed to do it privately. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say 93.7% of our education is always going to be hybrid. Some things may be in-house only in an effort to make sure that you guys, honestly, if you're driving past a gas station and the numbers have changed, you're thinking, I need to be savvy about how I'm spending my money. So if you need to stay home for the education, to save the tank of gas to get to your next appointment, your next showing, your next kitchen table or coffee table, by all means, we understand that. We want to make sure that you guys understand the education's always going to be available online. And if you missed something, it's going to be in the LMS. If you miss something, you can go to KW Tech Tube. Like, there's always an opportunity. And most of that stuff is also getting simulcast over to Facebook. But sometimes finding that class from last week in Facebook is like a needle in a haystack. So to cure that, that's why Robert built the LMS. And he's been very gracious in the last 50 minutes, I should say 20 minutes, by using the royal we. This is all Robert. So anytime you're enjoying the LMS or KW Tech Tube, just understand this is all happening because you have a Market Center Tech Trainer. And that's another thing that's not across the street. I'm not judging across the street. I'm super judging across the street. I'm not judging across the street. We are very fortunate to have a Market Center Tech Trainer and an entire team that's putting together the content so the Wizard of Oz over here can make sure that it gets up online. So please don't shy away from this opportunity.
I just pull the levers and make the steam. The classes last week, we had Zoe and Alana doing classes that were independent, and then we had the deposit link. All those things were a lot of effort put in by other people. So it is the we. All I'm doing is like literally just taking a thing, putting it over here. So I appreciate that, but it is definitely all of us. We are all working hard for you.
Well, and correct me, Thursday night, when you speak of the absorption class, you're talking about Thursday night. Yep. JV hijacked the night school class and did her absorption class. And you're wondering, what is absorption? It has nothing to do with liquid and sponges. Absorption is all about what do we have for houses in the market and what's the time frame. So the absorption rate is the inventory versus how long it's going to last. Right now, with the numbers we have on the books, at least in the state of New Hampshire, we normally have, you could argue, there's 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 weeks of inventory. We're at 0.3, which so we have stuff that's lasting about a weekish, and that's being generous. So for the love of goodness, make sure that you're talking to your people this week, because your activities today, and Gary says this all the time, show me your schedule, I'll show you your future. That's why we're always having the 90-day conversation. Without fail, whatever you're doing today is gonna show up with an opportunity for you in 90 days. Now, this is where people would push back. Things are closing very quickly, blah, blah, blah. We're going to stick to the 90-day window. You should presume that best case scenario, a listing today is going to get you to the closing table in and around July 12th, June 12th, I should say. But we're closing in on July 12th. So I think that puts a bow on it for the most part, unless there's anything else you want to share. We want to wax poetic about Brady. I don't. And I love him. I won't say Kaylee said it. Damn it, I just said Kaylee said it. She texted me last night. She goes, that time when Tom Brady turned into Brett Favre. Like, you're just, because I truly believe it's going to be another jersey, and he's starting to water down. It seems impossible that he could, but I feel this way. He's starting to water down his legacy. If he puts on a third jersey, dude, come on. Come on.
Oh, okay. What? No, we're not going to do this.
You're not going to fight with me on this? We'll
No.
fight off.
Basically, it comes down to this. There is a body of work that has nothing to do with tomorrow.
Sure. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
There's a body of work that has nothing to do with tomorrow that will live in the hollows of the sport. Period. End of thing. You can't change it. You can't water it down because it is what it is.
So if he plays for 3 more years,
It has nothing to do with what he's done.
okay, for 5 more teams,
For 15 for every team in the league. If he throws another pass for another team, he just adds to it. He's not watering down anything. You can't change. He's got 2 hands full of rings.
okay. I'm just concerned for his legacy. That's all.
His legacy is in granite. It's actually, they haven't uncovered it yet, but he's going to be on Rushmore.
Okay. And now we got to go. We love you all. If you need Robert, it is timewithrobert.com. If you're looking for Alana Babineau, you can go to KWCLMmarketing.com to look at our full suite of services, or you can book some time, BABS, timewithbabs.com. If you need me, it's meetwithcoach.com. If you've got questions, comments, concerns, it is 603-834-2856. And Dr. Westcott is resting today. And I'm not going to, everybody has JV's number. So I'm not going to give that up because I'm afraid of JV. So without fail, you know where to find our brokers, although his voicemail will tell you that he's resting his pretty little head today. So you're calling JV with any broker questions. And just a friendly reminder, because I know things come up and you're like, well, I'll call the agent back. When things start to get gray, this is why you have the leverage of reaching out to your brokers so they can call the other broker and they can mitigate the situation. So we're not infighting amongst, negotiations are one thing, but when things start to get quirky and you're going to start to go down a road where eventually, if you feel like JV is going to be involved in 10 minutes, call her now so she can get in front of it and make the initial phone call to the other brokerage. Just a friendly reminder. Our brokers are here to have that next level conversation on your behalf and to stop the fire before it starts. So if you see smoke, call JV or Jason, but Jason's resting today, so don't call Jason. I think that's it. And one last thing, Robert, his legacy is going to get